Hello, everyone. It's Sarah Waggle. Welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for commenting. You guys can always leave me a comment if you have questions or suggestions, things that you would love to see me do on this channel. I, of course, use astrology and coaching tools and energy work to support others in their healing journey, to support others through the energy changes that we are all experiencing and whatnot. And so I really appreciate you guys being a part of not only your own journeys, but being a part of my journey. Really thankful to have you guys on board. So we just had, like, this weekend was pretty intense with the first quarter moon square in Virgo that squared off with Saturn. And so we're moving now into the buildup to the full moon in Sagittarius. We're also in the middle of a lot of larger transits that are going to take time and therefore create some massive energy shifts along the way, including Pluto squaring off with the nodes in Pluto at 0 Aquarius, squaring off the nodes in Taurus and in Scorpio. And those nodes are almost finished in Taurus and Scorpio. And I don't know about y'all, but thank God. But then, we'll have a new set of lessons to learn. So I'm going to talk about the nodes a little bit with regards to the ego and wounded inner child and things like that. So let's dive in to see what the transits look like this week. There we go. Okay. And of course, we're on the long slide to start. Okay. Sorry. All right. So overview for this week. Of course, we're in Gemini season now. We're going to talk about the fact that we're in the middle of all these big changing energies, the full moon and Sag buildup, and then of course the ego shadow, whatnot buildup. So let's talk about the transits briefly. Many, of course, that are ongoing for this time. On the 28th, we'll have the moon in Libra, trine Pluto in Aquarius. Again, focus on relationships. In Libra, that's like its thing, right? Libra is the seventh zodiac sign. It's social. It's all about relationships, partnerships, relationships with coworkers, relationships with friends, family, and whatnot. It can be about like romantic relationships, but as far as like, I don't know, I tend to think of the 8th Scorpio as mergings or marriage, or other intimate relationships of that nature. So 7th house Libra, which is where the North Node will be moving to in July. And so we're going to see a lot of things with regards to Libra and relationships, but this Pluto trine the moon is kind of maybe a hint or a nudge, maybe exposing some insecurities, exposing some power. Pluto's about power and whatnot. And then on June 1, we will have Jupiter conjunct the North Node opposed the South Node. This is while the moon is in Scorpio. So I feel like while the moon's in Scorpio, which is about May 31 through, I want to say, the 2nd, while the moon's in Scorpio, it's going to oppose all of that Taurus energy. So we have Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, Uranus, all in Taurus. And so when the moon enters Scorpio, and while Jupiter is there, of course, it's going to amplify everything. But because we have the moon in Scorpio, while Jupiter conjuncts the North Node, opposes the South Node, it could be like an ouchie, I didn't see that shit coming. Oh crap, I was healing and actually I need to heal this thing. And it could be some like, just shit that comes up that you may just not wanted to acknowledge, or you didn't really know existed. As we peel back the layers of the onion of healing, we do tend to find things that we didn't expect to find, that need our attention, that need healing, that need work, or that need, maybe even some soothing. And so as we have Jupiter on the North Node with the moon in Scorpio, moons and Scorpios are hard anyway, in my opinion. There's a fixed water sign. It's it's psychological, it's very deep. And we've got the South Node finishing up there. And South Node is past versions of yourself, past lives, you know, and all of the things past. And so, of course, there's a lot of past wounds coming up to the surface as we get closer and closer to the nodes completing this cycle in Taurus and Scorpio. And so the closer we get to that change, which is July 17th, we're gonna have more things. And obviously the universe really wants the best for you, and the best for you requires you to kind of dig up these old wounds for them to be acknowledged, for them to be made aware of, and for them to heal. If you're kind of wondering like why you haven't moved forward in this area or that area, that's what the South Node is doing, is it will pull up all of the things for you to heal. And especially it being in Scorpio, it's been a rough 18 months, I'm not gonna lie. And as it gets closer, the energy is going to intensify to have you lean towards the North Node in Taurus, which is your mission, your earthly, you know, fixed earth. And so with Jupiter there, it's going to amplify things. And so whatnot. I also want to say I was listening to something the other day that was a great reminder of the evolution or the awakening or ascension, whatever words you put on the process, the healing process, or however you define it. Why is it so frustrating right before we have like a big move forward or a catapult forward? Because as you are awakening or ascending to your higher self, you're being flooded with light. And we are not, as humans, used to that. We're used to this dark energetic world existence, this earthly existence. It's not always pleasant. But as you move towards the life of abundance, happiness, joy, those sorts of things, which are higher on the emotional frequency scale, we're flooded with light and our systems get overwhelmed by it. And so I thought that was a really interesting reminder that as you're being flooded with light, like it takes your system time to get used to it. That's why I talk so much about giving yourself the time, intentional time to adjust, to process, because as we continue to move forward in such a dramatic way, we're being flooded with light. We're being given so much opportunity for to open our heart space and feel the abundance and whatnot. And that can be overwhelming to our system. So it tends to anger our inner child. That's why I'm going to talk about ego in just a second. And then, of course, we have now through October 11th is Pluto squaring off at the nodes. And then June 3rd, we have that full moon in Sagittarius. Drop me a comment below if you would love for me to do a full moon in your rising signs video. And we'll see if we can get that up on YouTube this week. The 4th at 14:35, there we go. Mercury conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Mercury is mental, Uranus is disruptive. It's authenticity and all of those things. So could have some interesting dreams. You could have some interesting downloads, maybe some powerful nudges that give you some jolts of inspiration or jolts of go this direction sorts of moments. There could even be some amazing opportunities. Could have some amazing opportunities on June 1 as well with Jupiter conjunct that North Node, provided you're ready for that North Node energy. If you are choosing South Node, which is completely fine, no judgment either way. But if you are leaning into that North Node Taurus energy, then Jupiter is going to amplify that and expand it and all those things. Let's see. June 5th through October 8th, Venus will be in Leo, including a retrograde that happens in the last week of July. Lots of crazy shit happening that last week or so of July to be looking forward to. And then on the 11th, Mercury moves into Gemini, as well as Pluto regresses back into Capricorn. The moon's going to start out in Virgo, and it's going to transit to Sagittarius, where we will have that full moon on the 3rd. So there's that. And then I feel like there was something else I was going to say. I didn't put it on here for this week because I really try not to get too far ahead of myself, even though obviously I'm not good at that. But we have until June 17th before we will have Saturn go retrograde in the new moon in Gemini. And when Saturn goes retrograde, it's like almost everything halts. And so if you're wanting to make progress and get forward in something, there will still be forward momentum with Saturn retrograde. It's just a lot harder once everything starts going retrograde, because we kind of have to pull back and re-examine all of the stuff that we just looked at as the planets were moving forward. Then we go back and re-examine it and see what we really needed to learn or what we really needed to uncover or discover as the planets were moving forward. All right, things to do. Of course, my usual spiritual hygiene, consciously, intentionally taking the time for journaling, meditation, saging, using your crystals if that's what you feel, connecting to the earth, connecting to your higher self, having those conversations with yourself, that sort of thing. So always keep on your spiritual hygiene, whatever that looks like for you. There's really no right or wrong way to be spiritual. It's a matter of connecting with your higher self, connecting with your higher power, and ensuring that you are on an aligned path and not just sort of falling into a humdrum autopilot type of way of being. And then, of course, staying connected to yourself and those important in your life. Again, I said this last week. I'll keep saying it. Shit's going to go on in this world. It will. It will always be going on in this world. There will always be reasons to want to get distracted, whether it's, the latest, greatest series came out and you feel like binging Netflix all day. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. We're all guilty of that. Okay. I'm saying if you're doing that day in and day out and you're not connecting with the things that light you up and that bring you passion, those are the things that I am suggesting that you be conscious of not doing. I'll also say here too, with Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, it's really important that if you are able to embark on a sobriety journey from intoxicants, that this is been a good time to do that. However, obviously, I'm not speaking to you about getting rid of your pharmaceuticals, so please don't read into it that way. I do have a disclaimer, maybe not on my video, but whatever. Anyway, I think y'all get what I'm saying. What else we got? Intentionally taking the time to process the rapid change. Yeah, really intentionally taking the time to feel into that light energy that's like flooding down into our bodies. And from our higher self, it's flooding down into us at such an enormous level that we really need to take the time to process that. This year is huge release of old behaviors, old patterns, old habits, old routines, all of the things. I mean, it's just the shit that's no longer serving you in a way that's going to catapult you forward or move you forward is the shit that's got to go. Okay, let's talk about the ego shadow. Of course, there's tons of terms for this. Ego, shadow, and wounded inner child. I tend to think of it as our humanness. It's our human brain. So our mind, thinks shit up. And then, of course, the magnetic laws of the universe has to make it look real to us, even though it's just our mind making up stories and whatnot about how things are going. So of course, if you believe that you won't have people in your life because you don't deserve them, or if you think that they would consider you a burden or something like that, then of course that's going to be how it plays out. But if you acknowledge the fact that none of us is a burden, we all deserve to be interdependent and supported by others, then you will have the people who you need to help you show up in your life. And so ego is our humanness. It's our human brain. What we think is not always true. While we cannot fully release all of our ego, we can lose parts of it along the way. Okay, this is what I mean by, as you move forward towards whatever you're going after, whether it's moving, a new job, a career, an artistic adventure, whatever it is, as we move forward, there are parts of your ego that cannot go with you. Your ego serves a purpose. It's what wants to protect you, wants to keep you safe. it's our source of fear, of course. And I don't think there's anybody out there who's taken a crazy adventure that will say, I wasn't scared. Yeah, okay. You were scared. You just did it anyway. And that is a lot of people that take any kind of, unconventional journey or adventure is 90% of the time they're scared. They're just doing it anyway. All right. Um, I'm scared every time I do one of these videos. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, oh God. I always think about it after the fact, like, I so messed that up. I had typos, I had this, I had that. What if I could come up with all of the things, right? But I just keep doing it anyway, because to me, it's just all practice. And I'm just practicing at human life, right? I'm practicing doing something that makes me happy, that apparently brings other people joy. And so I keep practicing showing up and bringing the message, to y'all. So, but there are parts of you that cannot go with you on the next part of the journey that do have to be tamed and let go of. As you progress, there are parts of you that can't go with you. Yep. It's there to protect you. So practice connecting and empowering and reparenting your inner child. So this is my perspective from my work with coaching work as a coach. That our ego is our wounded inner child, and that as adults, we get to reparent our inner child. So maybe there are areas of your life where you were not comforted as a child. Now you get to comfort your inner child as the adult parent in order to support that child in believing in herself or himself, in order to do the things that we want to do. This is also why it's really important to have like creativity be a part of your life, be messy, do fun things, play in the dirt, play in the sand, go swing, all of the things, right? Like this is why that's so important, is because that's a large part of reparenting your inner child. Maybe your mom didn't like it when you made a mess in the house because she just cleaned the house. But you get to go have fun and do those fun things. And I'm a huge fan of going playing on a playground. Do it when the kids aren't there, I promise. And swing and all of that. Okay. And then of course it's worth an investment to get a support person to help you through this, whether that is a therapist, a coach, a mentor, whatever it is. I have worked with coaches over the years who, specifically on reparenting my inner child, my abandonment wounds, and all of that. Right. And so I've worked with coaches over the years to work on that. I've also worked on like my money issue or, whatever. And so I really encourage you as you continue to do this work. Yes, of course, you can work with me. I'm an astrologer, I'm a coach and all of the things, but I don't go that deep as far as helping through all of the inner child stuff. And so there's that. So that's kind of this week in a nutshell. It's not a busy week transit wise, but there is a lot of behind the scenes work happening for us. So there's a lot of work happening for us in order to get us to that next level, right? And so I do think that as we build up to the Sagittarius full moon, which is why as I was looking at it, I'm like, I got to do a separate video. So I'm probably going to do that. I actually really want to try and do something, and I don't know if I can. I really want to try and do the YouTube chapters feature and do your sun signs, but I don't have like the app that does the sun sign charts, but I can still do slides for each of your sun rising signs and then do the chapter thingies. I just want to see if I can do it. This is why you guys get content, is because I'm like, I want to see if I can do that. And chances are any other content creator, it's sort of the same thing, as they want to see if they can do it. They want to see like what that looks like or whatever. And so there's that. But I really feel like as we build up to the Sagittarius full moon, so Sagittarius is the 9th zodiac sign. It's ruled by Jupiter. It is about long distance travel, learning, education, philosophy, belief systems, religion, What else? Religion or belief systems. It's obviously expansion. It's a fire sign. It's the last fire sign of the zodiac. And because Jupiter is in Taurus, which is Earth, and we're gonna have this full moon, or yeah, this full moon in Sag, which is Jupiter's home. I don't know. There's just something about it with the moon and Gemini, or the sun and Gemini, rather. There's something about this full moon, it being in Sagittarius at this time with these planets in Taurus. Because again, we have Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, Uranus, all still in Taurus. It's almost like there's this enormous demand from the universe that we release the thing that's keeping us small. I mean, and this is always the case, right? We're always working on releasing the parts of ourselves that are keeping us small, that are not serving us in our growth. And Sagittarius being an expansion sign, I just get a really strong feeling that if you're feeling like something's bubbling up inside you to be released, and something is really cropping up and you cannot get away from it, that this is what it's building up to, is this full moon release. So this may be a good opportunity to write some things down and have a burn ceremony, or rip it over a trash can ceremony, a throw it in the water ceremony, whatever you do to release some shit. But it really feels like that's about to happen. Okay, so I'll do another video on that Sag full moon. It just feels very powerful to me. It feels like a very powerful time to me. Okay, so in the description box below, you will find a link to my Calendly, and it's my online scheduling, and you can schedule a one-to-one reading with Zoom. However, I also have the option to get a personal astrology write-up, where I will tell you, you'll give me like your chart info, and then I will take that info and get your chart along with the current transits and like what's coming up ahead, and give you kind of an idea of some dates to be aware of, transits to be aware of, and like maybe some practices that you can take on, maybe a tarot card, or even just some kind of a inspirational message, or even just something to be prepared by. So basically an astrology reading that is on paper. And so I have those available on my online scheduler. So you can see the link below in the description box for that. So if you want to get a personal, I did this for a friend of mine recently, asked her to be my guinea pig to see if like what it would look like, how it would feel. She's not too familiar with astrology, but she did love having the dates and the document to reference back to see what would be coming up for her in that time. So it kind of helps if you're sort of skeptical about astrology. Does this stuff really work? Does it really happen this way? And then you can kind of go back in and look at the dates and see how it aligns. And so there's that. So if you want to work with me or have me do a written reading, whatever, you know what I mean. A written report for you of your personal astrology, that is available as well. And then of course, very soon I will have another announcement coming up. I'm just waiting for things to kind of fall into place with that. But I'll be announcing another thing very soon. Very exciting. And I'm also working on my website to get my blog back up and running. And so I've been promising my Instagram that for months, and my website was that far behind on everything. So I've had to do a lot of editing. So thanks for tuning in, and I will try and get that Sagittarius full moon video up as soon as possible so you'll have it, and I will talk to you on the next video. But thank you. I love you, and take care.